morning and welcome to our weekly edition of the Tourismus live broadcast. Basically, you can always watch it on our Facebook site for the Namibia Tourism Expo. My name is Frank Steffen. I'm the editor of Allgemeine Zeitung and obviously also involved with the Tourismus Namibia. With me in the studio, we've got Wiebke Schmidt this morning.
Good morning.
You will see that today Chloe is absent simply because Wiebke has been down to the south.
Jetzt bin ich da, ja.
Yeah. Wiebke is not as fluent in English as I suppose I am. So much of this show will be done with her speaking and I'm giving you a rough translation more or less of what she's doing. It's not that she can't speak English at all, but just to make it better understandable for all of you. So welcome to the show, and before we go to the topics of the day, let's hear what the marketplace says. Right, topics of the day. We've actually had quite a nice week. Good news for a change in some respects, but in other cases not as good. The Minister of Environment, Forestry and Tourism actually spoke to people up in the north, in Ondangwa in fact, and so Eleni Nanjatu of Namibian Sun actually submitted the story to us. And it was quite an interesting thing because many of the people have their disputes about this old theme, but they discovered 300 carcasses of elephants recently, all in the Kaza area. And the problem that you have is you've got overpopulation in that area. The minister at this stage reckons that there must be close to 200,000 elephants up there. Over the whole Kaza area. So that is obviously, Kaza extends over Botswana, Namibia, Zambia and Zimbabwe. And the problem that you have is there's so many animals in that little space that you've got an overpopulation problem. And they've done some investigations. It's not that these animals are dying of some funny causes or poaching, it's simply stress. And so whether we like it or not, we've now reached that point that we have been writing and speaking about so often, that the animals have become so much over that whole area that animals are dying now. And the argument obviously comes up, then why can't you just as well use it for hunting or whatever you do? I know that hunting is always a sort of big red line nobody wants to cross. But at the end of the day, if the animals are too many, then our human-wildlife conflict will add again. So there needs to be a plan. There needs to be a plan very fast, otherwise we sit in the same situation as Botswana, where at the end of the day, the elephants are really moving into human living area, and that's going to create stress much more. So we need to address this, whether people overseas appreciate it or not. That is not the point. The good news that came in, the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism obviously also is looking at possibilities how to gain money to maintain what we've got. So this week the European Union actually donated, as you can see there, 22 million Namibia dollars is what they call it. The amount is actually in euros, it's 1.17 million euros. Now, if you convert that at current rates, it actually comes closer to 24 million. So that's good news. And this money is paid out in two portions, 510 100,000 euro goes to NACSO. NACSO is the Namibian Association of CBNRM support organizations. These are obviously the organizations that are involved with what they call community-based natural resource management. So NACSO is going to organize their systems better, promote how you can actually run conservancies and those sort of things. Whereas another 660,000 euro goes to NDT, and the NDT director is Ronnie Dempers. He's actually going to promote actual conservancy establishment. So, wir werden viel mehr Hegegebiete haben, als wie wir früher hatten. What basically happens, we've got conservancies, but these things are not self-sustainable yet. And the idea is to promote them, find ways and means how they can actually earn a living, which I think is good. And then just a day later, Germany went and gave another huge amount. So they gave 13 million euro, which is 250 million Namibia dollar. And that's huge. On the picture you can see they actually quickly just posed for us. That is the minister, and on his left side you see Miss Ellen Girls. She's the charge d'affaires of the German embassy. And then the minister is obviously Pohamba Shifeta, and then you also had the environmental commissioner, and I must admit I forgot the name of the lady to the right. But be it as it may, those amounts that they've now allocated there will also be managed through the MEFT, and there it is direct support of the conservancies. So it's all about making sure that people have a sustainable income for the moment, just to get them over this COVID period. So I think that's a good thing. Yeah, really impressive. So yeah, those were the three main items I wanted to tell you about. And with that, we quickly listen to what the marketplace tells us, and we come to destinations next. Destinations. That's why Wiebke is sitting here, not only to look beautiful. No, fact is, Wiebke was invited to Lüderitz, and we sent her as representative of Namibia Tourism, and she obviously wants to tell us a bit about what she did as she went down there.
Ja, also ich kann es gar nicht erwarten, davon zu berichten, weil Lüderitz habe ich schon seit über 20 Jahren nicht mehr besucht, und wo ich jetzt merke, es würde echt Zeit. Es ist nicht nur eine wunderschöne Stadt, sondern eine Stadt, die viel zu bieten hat, aber der Reihe nach. Zusammen mit Tanja Bause vom Republikain sind wir runtergefahren nach Lüderitz und haben die Helmeringshausen-Strecke genommen, wo es auch den besten Apfelkuchen, was ich wirklich bestätigen kann, gibt. Die Strecke ist wunderbar. Sie war natürlich frei, die Straße selber kaum Wellblech und also wirklich schön zu befahren. Hier sind wir jetzt in Aus und nähern uns immer mehr Garup, wo wir auch das Glück gehabt haben, dass wir wirklich auf wilde Pferde gestoßen sind.
Yeah. As you can see here, those are the wild horses of Garup that Wiebke is telling us about. They actually went via the sand road via Helmeringhausen over Aus and onto Garup. Yeah.
Ja. Übernachtet haben wir auf Einladung von Brenda Kotze im Obelix Gasthaus. Also wirklich eine wunderschöne Unterkunft, gleich am Eingang der Stadt. Der erste Tag von unserer Tour, der begann auf der Seabed. Und zwar haben wir eine Tour gemacht, zusammen mit Heiko Metzger, bis nach Halifax. Wir hatten ein wunderbares Wetter. Die See war windstill. Ich hatte die Reisetablette praktisch umsonst genommen, aber sicher ist sicher. Sind auf Pinguine gestoßen, Delfine haben uns begleitet, und also es lohnt sich auf jeden Fall eine Bootstour zu machen.
So if you go to Lüderitz, you can take part in that little tour of the bay and so on. It's Seapad, as you can see there. Wiebke reckons it's one tour that you shouldn't miss, because you get to see dolphins, you get to see different wildlife and so on. So this is really quite an impressive little route.
Ja, das war jetzt außerhalb des Programmes, weil Tanja Bause und ich, wir haben dann noch die Austernfarm besucht, einfach aus Interesse halber. Alle Austern, die in Walfisch kommen aus Walfish Bay als Mini-Austern und gehen dann wieder nach Walfish Bay zurück.
Okay, just quickly, so these oysters are brought from Walfish Bay when they're still little and then they're actually farmed out in the bay.
That's right. Und jetzt haben wir eine Tour gemacht, zusammen mit Heinz Manz von Namib Offroad Excursions, und zwar nach Elisabethbucht, kurz eBay genannt. Das hatte mich am Anfang ein bisschen irritiert, weil ich dachte, was hat eBay jetzt damit zu tun?
Ja, aber man braucht es nichts kaufen.
Es ist aber es ist eine unglaubliche Stadt, auch eine der vielen Geisterstädte. Bekannt ist natürlich Kuhlmannskupp, aber es gibt viel mehr zu bieten. Wir haben Grillenplatz oder Grillental, wir haben Elisabethbucht und es gibt Pomona.
Just to catch up for you, obviously you've got Grillental, you've got Elizabeth Bay, eBay, that's why we were joking about it just now. Nobody needs to buy anything. These are all the old mining towns along the road as you go down to the Arch Rock.
Ja,
Rock Arch.
Genau, weil da sind wir nämlich jetzt gerade unterwegs am nächsten Tag. Wir befinden uns jetzt hier in Pomona, jetzt schon am Bogenfelsen. Die Tour, die haben wir zusammen mit Luffy und seinem Sohn Ramon Drucker unternommen von Coastways Tours. Ja, jetzt geht es ein bisschen schnell. Ich hätte mehr Bilder reinnehmen sollen, aber wie auch immer. Es ist empfehlenswert, die Tours zu machen. Wir haben eine wunderbare Stadttour zusammen mit Marion Schelkle unternommen.
Ah, ja, Marion Schelkle is
von
part and
Lüderitz
parcel of Lüderitz.
Ja,
she obviously took them around in Lüderitz. As you can see, there's lots to see and it's a nice town. And you were lucky, you had good weather.
Wir hatten absolutes Wetter. Also jedem Fotografen, sein Herz musste höher schlagen. Lüderitz jeden Tag beim strahlenden Sonnenschein. Es war mehr oder weniger windstill, aber das gehört nun mal einfach zum Meer, zum an der See zu sein. Hier sehen wir die kleine Gruppe, die wir waren, mit den Anbietern. Wir wurden verwöhnt, kulinarisch verwöhnt von Joel Fontes von The Portuguese Fisherman, ein Lokal, was wirklich den erstklassigsten Fisch bietet, schlechthin.
Yeah, just make a note of that. What was that? Portuguese fisherman?
The Portuguese Fisherman, yes, kann ich nur empfehlen.
Yeah, like we said, the whole tour, this is obviously a quick rundown. But Lüderitz is worth visiting. It is off the beaten track. I mean, it's far from here.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Tourismus Namibia, which we brought out earlier, just remember, Lüderitz is not that far anymore if you come, for example, from the Cape and you organize your trip properly, coming from the Cape up through the Richtersveld and going through Ice. Then you might as well go to Lüderitz because there's a lot to see. It's just a different place. It's a typical Fischer Dorpi.
Absolut. Und was ich anmerken möchte, ein Tag Lüderitz, dafür ist es einfach die längste Sackgasse der Welt. Ne? Man fährt ja fährt man ja über 100 Kilometer bis nach Lüderitz rein. Nehmt euch mehr Zeit. Lüderitz ist wirklich eine Reise wert und vor allen Dingen dort mal ein paar Tage zu bleiben. Es
5 Tage
viel.
Kann man da
locker,
einfach durchbringen.
Locker. Ja, und vor allen Dingen, diese Stadt hat ein solches Flair. Die Leute sind unglaublich zuvorkommend, freundlich. Wie gesagt, man kriegt gutes Essen, es sind wunderbare Unterkünfte da und es gibt wirklich viel zu unternehmen.
And there's lots to see if you go out to the fjords, if you go out just along the big bay or the small bay, if you go to Achat Strand, like you said, you can do excursions, whether it's Kolmanskoppe, whether it's eBay, if you go down to the Rock Arch. There's much to do, and like you said already, if you just go out on an excursion through the bay on the boat, I mean, there's really lots to do. I think Lüderitz is sometimes underrated in terms of what they offer. Yeah.
Und was man auch alles erfährt, gerade wenn man natürlich durchs Sperrgebiet geführte Touren unternimmt, eine Fülle von Geschichten. Und auf einmal kommt die Vergangenheit so ganz näher und man sieht, unter welchen Bedingungen wurden damals die Diamanten gefunden, zerkleinert oder wie ist man da rangekommen. Also hochinteressant, was man sich keinenfalls entgehen lassen sollte.
And that is really so, that if you do tours to Kolmanskop, you enter a different world. You suddenly see that these were riches.
Yeah, but it's not
like
only
the gold rush you had
in
America. Here you had the diamond rush, and people were prepared to go and live in the middle of nowhere. if you go to Elizabeth Bay, and I always find it funny, any of these, whether it's Grillenthal or wherever, you sometimes still find these kettles standing on and pots standing on ovens, and in some of the houses and so on. So really, it is worth going to Lüderitz, and you can combine it with different things, because you've got the wild horses along the road, Garup and wherever. You have all these various alternatives that you can visit before or after, whether that is going to Sperrgebiet for a tour right down to Oranjemund, or whether you organize it and you go to Fisher River Canyon, go to Ice and go to those places. And even if you just go back up and go to Sossus. So it really depends from what direction you're coming.
There's a lot of opportunities, that's true.
Yeah, so thank you for giving us a little insight there.
Very welcome.
With that, we want to just tell you a bit what's going on in the marketplace, and we'll come back with an interview. Yeah, to the point, while you were down there, you spoke to?
Yeah, I spoke to Brenda Kutze. She's the owner of the Obelix Guest House in Lüderitzbucht, and let's hear what she's talking about.
Good day. We are here with Miss Brenda Kutze from Obelix Guest House in Lüderitz. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please tell us about this initiative that you started to get tourism back to Lüderitz?
Okay, due to the COVID-19, the tour operators were suffering terribly because it's the only source of income they do have. And myself, I also felt the impact of the COVID-19. And you're always so much stronger to get a team together and not work individually. So we got all the tour operators together, and we sat around a table and we tried to figure out what could we do. And then we thought, you know, the Namibians don't really visit southern Namibia because they don't really know what there is to offer, and especially Lüderitz, because it is really out of the way. And there is only one road in and only one road out. So if people do come to visit Lüderitz, they need to see everything we do have on offer. So, and that is why we contacted NMH to see if they would be prepared to do a media tour, which I think it was fantastic. And so now the guests can see, the tourists can see what there is on offer, and then instead of just staying for one night, they can stay 4 to 5 nights, and then we're kept busy every day.
And Lüderitz has quite a lot to offer. It's ghost towns, it's...
Oh, absolutely. Lüderitz has a lot to offer. Many people think it is only Kormanskorp, the ghost town, which is well known around the world, but they don't know about Elizabeth Bay. They don't know about the Bochenfels, and of course the Halifax tour to the Penguin Island with the catamaran. And there's actually plenty more. The history of Lüderitz is incredible, and the German church is an absolute must to see, and you can go there between 5 and 6 because of the way the sun shines into the church to be able to see the glasswork.
Is there any efforts being done of Lüderitz people to get more South African tourists to the town as well?
Not that I know of. Everyone has, of course, dropped in prices, but I don't know of anyone else who's trying to attract any other form of tourists, because we used to get in overseas tourists, many nationalities, the French, the German, the Spanish, and from Ukraine and that. And that has all, of course, dried up. But I'm very positive that the COVID-19 is going to continue for very much longer. But we would like the Namibian to come and see the rest of Namibia and concentrate a bit more on the southern Namibia.
You've got a slogan also. What is that?
Yes. We heard about local is lekker, so we thought, okay, local is lekker, but Lüderitz is lekkerder, because I don't think there is anything else in Namibia that has this that Lüderitz has to offer, I don't think you can find in the rest of Namibia.
Tja, auf jeden Fall eine Reise wert.
Yeah, I must declare my interest. I grew up there for 7 years, so I know Lüderitz intimately, and the nice thing about Lüderitz is because it's small and compact for children, you can actually go into these little hills, and I remember we used to hunt for even rats and mice, and we would go up to the water reservoir and find owls and all types of things. So you know, I've got fond memories as a child, and it is still that same feeling. If you go out to the fjords, if you go out to the Sturmvogelbucht, all those various places, there's really much to do. And as a child, it has a totally different feel.
Absolutely.
Because it's unique. Lüderitz doesn't have a similar sort of feel in any other town, and that's so typical of Namibia, is it not?
Yeah.
Wherever you go, there's always something totally different to what you've just experienced when you went along your way to that site.
Yeah, no, that's
whether
right.
you take Damaraland, whether you take Kavango or Zambezi, or you go down into the Kalahari, in this case, go into the Namib. There's always something different.
That's really Namibia.
Nice. Yeah, and that's, by the way, why we have this Tourist of the Year competition. You will see all along the in our newspapers, Allgemeine Zeitung, Republikein, Namibian Sun, and even on the Erongo and the Windhoek Express sites. We're promoting it at the moment. So do take part if you feel that you're the one special person who is able to tell us about a tour to a destination, experience the whole thing and share that experience, whether it's videos, photos and whatever. And the idea is obviously that you promote the place that is sponsoring you. And at the end of the day, at the Namibia Tourism Expo in November, the people who visit the expo will actually vote for the Tourist of the Year, and you can actually win a nice prize. So just watch out for the ad. It will follow during the show, and just maybe take a chance and convince us that you're the star of the show. So with that, let's just listen to the marketplace again before we go to Picture of the Week. Right, and so now we've reached the point where we want to show you the picture of the week, and this time you've had a look at Pelicans at Halifax.
Yes, ja, ich wollte das Ganze dem Thema anpassen, und dieses Mal hatte ich das Bild entschieden für Rudolf Schmeink.
Oh, das ist aber kein Pelikan, das ist ein Flamingo.
Ja,
okay.
Hatte ich Pelikan
das ist ein Flamingo, ja.
Das ist ein Flamingo, der halt eben auf Halifax zu segelt. Ich finde eine wunderbare Momentaufnahme, wirklich schön eingefangen. Und da sieht man auch wieder strahlender Sonnenschein, blaues, glattes Meer. Also ich kann es wirklich nur empfehlen, auf nach Lüderitzbucht.
Yeah, it is really quite inviting, and this is a marvelous shot. I mean, to get that thing as exact like that, it must have been, he must have had his timing right. Yeah, and with that, we basically come to the end of our show. Thank you for listening. I hope we were able to inform you a bit about what was going on in the past week, and hopefully we can convince you to go down to Lüderitz, have a look yourself, and not only to support them, but actually to see what's going on there, because it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something really special and unique.
Yeah. And with that, thank you, Wiebke, for going there and informing us.
My big pleasure.
Thank you for watching the show, and we see you next week. Keep well.
Okay, keep well.